Peggy and I are relatively new RVers. We've been traveling for about 2.5 years. We've covered a lot of ground over that time, probably close to 20,000 miles, 24 U.S. states, about 7 national parks. There have been a few mishaps along the way, to be honest, but really nothing near the disaster we had on a recent short winter trip we took pretty close to home. It's our first RV trip of the season, which usually means a lot of packing up, since we've packed away a lot of stuff for the winter in our garage and so forth. We're headed to Tillamook, Oregon for the start of a week-long getaway during Peggy's midwinter break from school. And we're going to stay tonight just at a Harvest Host, boondock there in the parking lot. You're being followed by Jar Jar.
We're out. They were not expecting as many people this weekend.
That's cheese turd. That's not a pretty face.
It's okay. I mean, I know you can have like. Let's take like cheese.
Cheese turd?
No.
Oh boy. Is that all free? No. There's apparently a cool little hike that's supposed to be about 15 minutes away from here called Munson Falls. So we're going to go check it out, see if we can stay dry. Tested out the new shocks.
Yeah. Ah.
Whew. Yeah. got the keys? How was that?
Good. That's fun.
Any words of wisdom?
Don't slip.
Don't fall in the mud.
Don't fall in the mud.
Don't grab a stick that breaks off in your hand and then almost fall in the mud like I
Has
did.
that happened to you?
It's like twice. And then poke myself in the chest with another tree branch.
Okay. Maybe you're not meant for hiking.
Dirt to dirt.
How's it going?
I do this by myself. I don't need you.
Is that the fluffler valve?
Yeah. Chassis, man. Fixing your chassis. That's what my wife thinks I do. Whenever I work on the car. Fine with the chassis. Fluffler on the chassis. Yeah. We have about a 4 or 5 hour drive to our next stop, which is Pacific Beach State Park in the southern western part of Washington State.
Breakfast with a view.
We're not going to roll over. Oh, I don't think. Maybe not.
Can you hear the storm? Hopefully the little RV next to us does not blow into us. Oh, okay.
Access to whether it needs to blow.
We survived the windstorm. Peggy's out for a little hike today down the beach while I finish up all my morning meetings and we get all packed up. We're going to head up to Salt Creek Recreation Area, which is up in Port Angeles, northern part of Washington. But I have some more meetings later today, so we're going to go about halfway and stop at Kalaloch State Park, which is again on the Washington coast. Pray that I have good cell service, and I'll just work from the parking lot there while Peggy does some more hiking around. How you doing? Shit. Did you bonk your head?
No.
So this is where our relaxing little getaway took a major turn for the worse. I had checked the weather forecast in the morning, and I'd been watching it pretty much the whole trip, and there was a chance of light snow showers. All week they'd been saying. We really hadn't seen anything on the trip, so I wasn't too concerned, and I also wasn't too concerned because we were going to be staying on the coast, so we were at sea level. I didn't think it could be that bad. Cold? Get out of the cold. Get out of the cold. That said, I had never driven a 32-foot motorhome towing another car behind me through any kind of snow or ice, and I really didn't want to test out what that experience is going to be like. The road honestly wasn't all that icy as we were driving off the main highway down to the campground. It was when we got to the entrance, the main entrance to the campground, that we discovered basically a sheet of ice.
Your campsite is down a hill that is a sheet of ice. Sheet of ice.
We decided it really wasn't worth trying to stay there. Just getting down to where the RVs were parked was also another hill that was just covered in ice. If you've ever driven an RV motorhome and towed a car behind it, what you know is you can't really back up at all. So we had to turn the RV around. We had to disconnect the FJ from the RV, turn the RV around, and then reconnect everything back up again.
Did you know we were snow camping?
What?
Did you know we were snow camping?
No. I did not. Snow camping wouldn't be so bad. It's the ice camping that I'm not a big fan of.
Ugh.
So after we turned around, about halfway up the road, it was probably about a 2-mile road back to the highway. So about halfway up the road, we started slipping. We started losing traction, and we were started just gradually sliding backwards. Couldn't really get control. We turned the curve, and then the RV got to the tail end, got to the very edge where it was about to go over off into a pretty good sized ravine. I would say it was at least 20 feet down. It was getting dark, so it was kind of hard to tell, but it looked like it was, a good 20 feet down or so. Here's a little fun fact for you. If you have AAA and you have the RV plan, even for AAA doesn't come out to do any towing if there's any snow or ice, at least where we are in Western Washington. So we called 911, and 911 said they would get a deputy out and they would also get a tow truck out to work with us. And we waited, I don't know, probably about 45 minutes or so for a tow truck to show up. In that time, a few other cars that were trying to go up and down that road also slid and were kind of off to the side. Some of the local neighbors, one guy I talked to who lived there for 45 years, came out and said it's kind of an unusual occurrence, but they were really great. The neighbors sort of all pitched in, and like 4 or 5 guys came out. Some guys came out with wheelbarrows and shovels and gravel and tried to help us out, at least try to get the RV stabilized, because it was still, even with the e-brake on and the foot brake on, it was still kind of sliding a little bit. I waited for the tow truck driver to get there. And when he got there, he was a little perplexed by the whole situation too, because he wasn't really sure how he was going to get it out of there. The road was just, he wasn't sure his truck was even going to make it. He called the county to have a gravel truck, sand truck come out and put gravel down. So again, another hour or so went by and we got the gravel truck out there. At this point, we were just desperate. We didn't know if we were going to end up spending the whole night, sleeping on the side of the road in the dark, and just the risk of cars running into us. He hooked a winch to the front of the RV, and we're like, we're going to try to pull this thing at least partially up the hill and sort of around the curve where it starts to level out again. I got behind the wheel and he started pulling me out, and I just watched his rear tires, and anytime I saw him slipping, I'd give it more power, and we just sort of worked it up the hill, and eventually we did find our way out. So we decided the best, safest thing really for us to do was just go ahead and fuel up, make the drive back home, which was about 4 hours. We knew the roads would be pretty empty, pretty clear. We were going to stay on the main highway, so we weren't worried about road conditions. And it would take us about 4 hours to get to our house, so we knew we'd get home sometime around 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. But it was worth it, just to be more safe and feel like we have to do. We made it home safe, and when I got home, I contacted Salt Creek Recreation Facilities folks and said, hey, look, we were supposed to stay here for 3 nights. It's already prepaid, but here was the situation. It was unpassable, and they were really nice about it. There's no problem. They did us a complete refund for the whole stay and said, hey, hope to see you back in the summer, which we'll definitely go back in the summer. It looks like a really incredible place to stay. I'll just be watching weather reports next time a little more closely now that I know that even in the coastlines of Washington, where you wouldn't think at sea level you would see much snow or ice, in the winter, February, January, probably even to March, you got to really watch out for it.